the What It Takes Radio Company. We present another episode in Interesting Ideas and a special time. This is now the Transformation Project. And today, here we go. Don't use type or talk. Leave a wonderful picture. Let's see what that can be about. Hey, we're back. That's right. Another interesting ideas. Our job is to try and help you find ways to be a little more interesting. And we want you to do that. We want people sometimes to wonder just a little bit about you. How do you know all this stuff? Well, interesting ideas is our way of trying to help you gain a little more insight, a little more influence, a little more impact in your life. And that might even mean that you bring a little more income. And income isn't money all the time. Sometimes it's just good things. And here's the best part of the job I have is I get to meet some of the most interesting people for free. And so I have one today. And Kevin, there's a long story of how we came together, but you then gave me the Transformation Project. We have a mutual friend who is writing a book on transformation, Joe Pine. We've talked about him before, the experience economy. Most of my people know that he was my mentor and I was his teacher. The experience economy.
I understand that completely.
And we met through that. And I have found you to be fascinating, and particularly because chapter 2 in my book on how to market yourself is image is not everything, but it is the first thing. And you are in the business of creating wonderful images. So I'm just going to simply say, Kevin, it's your turn in your town and you're on.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I mean, this is a neat and, how can I say that? This is a wonderful thing. I'm going to use my own name all the time. So let me give you a little background so you can understand why I think this is a very powerful tool. So one year I was doing this, and it was called graphic recording at the time. And a young lady came up to me and was watching me and asked me what I was doing. I said, well, I'm capturing these conversations and ideas that these people are having. She goes, what do you call this? I said, well, they call it graphic recording. She goes, no, I think you're doing something more than that. You're putting context to this. You're actually translating what they're saying. I said, well, that's an interesting thought. I said, why do you say that? She goes, well, I do the same thing. I said, oh, you're graphic recorder. She goes, no, I sign language. I translate the spoken word into visual communication. And you're doing the same thing. So I took on the idea that she said, you're a visual translator. I said, I love that idea because that is what I'm doing. I'm trying to bring that idea up. So I started creating different ways of communicating. And as you talked about, we are both associated with one gentleman, and I have been doing his visuals for over 6 years to help him convey his story and his ideas. But the reason I got involved with this, and that's usually the biggest question, is what got you started? I found a lot of failure in people's attempts to gain goals. And if we're talking about transformation, we're talking about aspiration. How do you keep on track to obtain your aspirations? And one of the things is they don't have a map. They don't create something they can follow. I said, well, I can draw maps. I can create these wonderful visual maps to help them stay on track. So I started saying, okay, let's look at the end. Let's look at what your aspiration is. What do you want to become? And then work our way back. Just like you see the one behind me, it really talks about the steps, not to the aspiration, but milestones along the way that get you there. And that came part of it. And I found that to be work with businesses who want to not so much transform, but are trying to create their strategy, but they fail. It's because not everybody can see the same strategy. So that kind of started the whole thing. And this all came out of the recession. So it was kind of the perfect percolator. People are like, what are we going to do next? Well, let's look at what you're going to do next. Let's see it. And that also kind of drove my motto or my creed, which is dream it, see it, so others can believe it and you can achieve it.
Say it again.
Okay, so it's dream it, in your mind, get that idea you want, see it, and that's what I do. I help you see the idea so others can believe in it so that you can achieve it.
Bingo.
So, and that's really what visual translation is all about, is getting the idea out so everybody can see the same thing. Because communicating with words and text alone, too much interpretation goes on in the other person's mind. They're associating their memories with what you're saying, and it may not even be aligned with what you're trying to do. So that's where miscommunication begins, or the lack of focus on that goal. We see this with corporate world, where one person comes in and goes, here's our strategy, and they talk about their strategy, and everybody at the table starts thinking about their own application to that. And they divert from the big goal, the corporate goal, the unified goal. Organizations like nonprofits who do not see where they're going get lost. I'm going to use a phrase, paraphrase something from Alice in Wonderland, from the Cheshire Cat, which I think is appropriate here. If you don't know where you're going, any path will get you there.
That's correct.
So I create a path so you know where you're going. Visual maps, big picture, whatever you want to call them, journey maps, they all mean the same thing. It means you have an artifact that you can follow and constantly check back to and go, oh, here is where I am now. This is what I need to do next.
If I can just, it's your story, but I'm going to give two of my own, because this is why I was so attracted to you, because finally I have a man who understands it and is kind of a godfather theologian about the whole idea. I was working in a project with a lady. She is at Kansas State University or something like this, and it was about mentoring. And so together we created a little thing called the mentoring mission, which was to teach companies how to mentor their people. Mm-hmm. And I remember trying to pitch it to this guy, and he just said, I don't know. I went back to her and said, he's not getting it. And she said, let me try something. She said, I've got a good, one of my students is really a funny little artist, and I'll see if we can maybe make a logo. She found this kid. He did a little square, and there was a big stick figure and a little stick figure. And then it was called the Mentoring Mission. We showed it to the guy, and he says, "Oh, now I get it.
Now I see it.
Now I see
what you're trying to do.
It's he said, you have a real company then." It was just a pitch, and he already gave us credit for being real.
Yeah, I mean,
and that old proverb, without a vision, people perish. Well, really, what it says is, if you can't see it, you get lost.
Correct. I mean, why do architects build blueprints? Why do sailors have maps of the seas of navigation to show them the path where they're going? Yeah. In the business world, we forget we need maps. We need that documentation, that artifact that says, this is our mission, this is our goal. Everybody knows how they interact with each other then. Yeah. And that's really what this whole thing I created, Wonderment, or Wonderment Studio, where I'm drawing, is all about. It's about helping others achieve what they want and desire, what their aspirations are, be it for business, for personal, or whatever it may be.
Now, very kind of, Kevin and he did a favor for me, and he said, Stan, this idea of transformation, because we actually have worked for a mutual client. This is Joe Pine, who wants to do this kind of stuff. And so I said, come up with some ideas for transformation. Now, I'll tell you, this guy was terrible. You know why? All 6 of them were great. And I couldn't make up my mind. Usually, you can crowd, oh, I don't want this one, I don't want this one. Oh, well, maybe. And then you come down to about two or three. No, all six of them, I said, these are really good. But I chose this one because it's a little more familiar. But tell the folks how you came up with that as a vision for transformation.
So one of my practices is asked for 5 adjectives that you believe this to be the function of this process.
Good assignment. Great assignment.
What I get from that is I get a lot of what people conceive in their mind. Again, what I'm trying to do is bring out what's inside your head out so everybody can understand it. So some of the adjectives you use, and we won't share some of them, but one of the adjectives was this idea that was percolating of mastery, of creativity. And I thought, wow, who's the master of all creativity? In my mind, was Da Vinci. And if we're looking for transformation, he had a wonderful symbol, which is, of course, the man in the circle.
Yes, right.
In different positions. And I said, okay, well, let's make it a piece of stained glass. Let's make it like a medallion. So we can say, this is our goal. This is our achievement. And that glow is from inside out. So the transformation project to me was already drawn many, many, many years ago. We just brought it back to life for a different
Brought
purpose.
it back to life. And I love that expression because what I oftentimes say is all good, great stuff has probably been done before. We just forgot about it. And somebody has to go back and bring the legacy of what we have done before and put it before us again. Say, we're a member of the human race. We come from a good thing. But now we have the technology and new insights. Maybe we can improve on it a little bit, but we can't maybe create it. Maybe it's already been created. We just need to better understand it. Yeah.
Yes. Let's not.
I love the idea.
And embrace our history so it can guide us to the future.
Right.
So.
Okay, Kevin. This is, like I said. Please, my friends, you need this man. I oftentimes say, if you're trying to pitch something, even if it's an idea you're trying to pitch to your colleagues, so you got a little memo, and you got this written out, call Kevin or someone and spend the money to act, even for the idea, to get a picture of it on top of your little talking points.
Yeah.
And you are going to be way ahead in the competition of ideas if you have a picture to begin with.
Yeah, it really does help explain the idea that words and text cannot do.
That's right. Yeah.
So, and it's all in one page.
On one page, not a 4-page memo or a 10-page thing like that. And it brings it to life and color and boldness and brightness, and we can connect with it. Kevin, this has been wonderful. This has been we're kind of at our TED Talk limit. But,
I appreciate it very much.
Well, first of all, tell me what wonderment means, okay? And then tell these fine people how they can experience the wonder of you. Okay, how to reach out to you.
So as you asked, you said, why wonderment? And what kind of generated that was, I like forging wonder. I love the idea of using creativity to expand your thinking. Or in my world, I love doing it the Willy Wonka way. So that the logo is a nod to Willy Wonka. And so what I always
love it.
I help make the ordinary extraordinary. That's the Willy Wonka way. It sounds playful. It is. Because if we don't engage our play, we'll never achieve our goal.
Say that again.
If we do not engage play, we will never reach our goal. And there's a lot of reason play is powerful. So
yes. Storytelling, play, all the things that they said were childish.
Yeah,
as the master teacher said, you got to become a child again.
You do, and you have to think in that method, not think like a child, but think in the method of childness.
Right. Yeah.
So to get a
Okay.
hold of me,
How can they experience wonder? How do they get in touch with the Wonder Man?
so the website is wondermintstudio.com, and you can go there. There's a link to my email. There's a link to call me if you need to. But you also see examples of how imagery can be used in different aspects of getting ideas out. So that's the
Yeah.
best way to get a hold of me.
Okay. And by the way, you should pay him a little bit of money just for the privilege of looking at his website because you'll get some good ideas.
How do I charge admission to get
Yeah,
in?
to
I got to
charge.
figure that one out. Joe would love that if I
Okay.
could do that.
All right. Once again, this is radio, so tell people how to reach you, and then we'll say goodbye till next time, and we'll find a picture to take us out.
There we go. So again, you can reach me at Wondermint Studio, and that's Wonder MINT Studio.com, or you can reach me at Kevin Dully at earthlink.net.
Thank you, Kevin. All the best and blessings as you bring more visual fascinations and stories into the world. Take the
Thank
next
you,
time.
Ken, and I'll see you again.
See you again.